manage its wealth and its distribution. I can see how many of these promise year after year in my own constituency, Tansi Speaker. It remains unfulfilled since the last time I entered Parliament in 2013. Hospitals, new schools, roads, flood mitigation measure, and many more remains just mere billboards and adverts. As we speak now, Tansi Speaker, I am receiving information from my constituency that there are flooding and flash floods happening all over in Penampang and even in some parts of Sabah. The heavy rainfall has caused massive disturbances to our constituency again year after year, and it has become a yearly affair in Penampang. Even our own district office is flooded. It puts to question as to how the authorities will help our constituency. Taman-taman like the Country Shangri-La in Kampung Menintod, Dongongon New Township, and roads in Nambazan are all flooded right now. And I urge the authorities to immediately act and send all the necessary help to the constituents. Tansi Speaker, I ask, why has both the federal and state government failed to address this? What has happened to the flood mitigation plan, which was proudly announced in June 2015? With the flood happening right now, I am saying this is a total failure, Tansi Speaker. Roads all over my constituency remain unrepaired. It is the same in Kondohon, Ramaya, and I'm sure that Tansi Speaker knows my constituency as well as I do. These are causing serious problems to people who use the road daily. I don't see anything in the budget that addresses this either. There is a vast difference, Tansi Speaker, between Kuala Lumpur, West Malaysia, Sabah and Sarawak. You can see the skyscrapers, the highways, the modern transportation, the multiple flyovers, and all the modern facilities that we see in Kuala Lumpur and in West Malaysia today. When we compare that to what we have in Sabah, and even in Sarawak, we have been unequally treated for 50 years. Even education policies on the real history on the formation of Malaysia remains just a few pages in our history books. I urge the government to seriously look into the truth on the formation of Malaysia and how we started this federation of ours. Even English remains unresolved. There are some schools that are ready to teach English in full medium, but yet again, the government has yet to address this issue. The budget has not addressed this either. The rising costs, Tansi Speaker, I'm told, is even more shocking, especially my colleague, Ampang, has revealed to me what she had obtained, that the government will be reducing subsidies for all rice millers, for all rice all over West Malaysia, Sabah and Sarawak, by 15% starting the 1st of January 2016. This will heavily impact on normal citizens, our ordinary friends and families. I also urge this government, and again they have failed to address this, to put up new policies when they build government projects. I urge them to build places of worship for all faiths, along with the mosque or surahs. The budget also ignored to correct the position of Sabah and Sarawak as an equal partner of the formation of the federation. Yes, a huge amount of allocation was given to Sabah and Sarawak, but, Tansi Speaker, this should be rightly and constitutionally be ours. The member from Bagan Datuk mentioned as the Deputy Prime Minister that this is an election budget. I feel very insulted by it, although he withdrew the statement subsequently. It is our right in Sabah and Sarawak to have a fair share of this wealth. And I believe this has also been Tansi Speaker's position in the past. It is my opinion, and it is very apparent that Sabah and Sarawak are merely used as a means to an end to continue this government, when in fact it should be our constitutional obligation for Sabah and Sarawak to have that fair share of the wealth that we have in this federation. Again, the budget fails to address this. Foremost, the special grant requested by Sabah during the formation of the federation, where 40% or 2/5 of the net revenue that is collected from the state of Sabah should be returned to Sabah has remained unresolved. The figure remains at 26.7 million a year since 1969. And Sabahans, members of parliament from both sides have raised this many times. And I think the Prime Minister cannot just form committees to do it. Rather, he should now reveal to Parliament how much has actually been collected by gross revenue from Sabah and Sarawak since, or at least from Sabah, since the formation of Malaysia. I wish also to remind this House, Tan Sri Speaker, that in a recent Shell Sabah report, the Gumusut Kakap deepwater oil field off the coast of Sabah produces about 135,000 barrels a day. That report itself confirms that represents 25% of the Malaysian national oil output. Just one oil field, Tan Sri Speaker. You can imagine how much is being collected as a revenue from Sabah. Tan Sri Speaker, Sabahans are also still in the dark as to what has become of the RCI. Other than committees after committees and recommendations that are being submitted or will be submitted as announced by the state government recently or yesterday. Surely everyone, including those from the other side of this August House, knows that nothing has really been done other than mere facades and sporadic arrests here and there. Several JPN officers, Tan Sri Speaker, were arrested, including a deputy director of JPN in Sabah were arrested recently. But what is the outcome? Pakistani shops are opening up in my constituency like nobody's business. I believe in many other constituencies. We have no issues if these people come in legally, but they come in and abuse that trust and opportunity when we allow them to enter Sabah. Some of them have become citizens. And as we know from the arrests that were made, some of them have even bought that citizenship. And that has clearly changed our demography in Sabah. I worry about our future, Tan Sri Speaker. I think all of us should. Now, the Prime Minister must know that he cannot just wait. He should just make a once and for all solution. The solution I see, Tan Sri Speaker, and I propose to the government, is to decentralize all immigration powers, the issuance of birth certificates, the issuance of citizenship, including the issuance of registration of deaths in Sabah and to the Sabah state government, including the Sarawak government. This will probably solve that perennial question that we have always asked in Sabah, where they blame West Malaysians for all the debacle that we face today. I think we have to stop blaming West Malaysia. We have to take responsibility of this as Sabahans, running our state, running our sovereign government in Sabah. We keep on talking autonomy. The Prime Minister talks of the autonomy too, but there is a clear hesitation to give Sabah its legal and sovereign right when we agreed to form the federation. Tan Sri Speaker, we in Sabah care very much for the people of West Malaysia, and I think they care for us too. And we respect their sovereignty as their uniqueness as the Federation of Malaya once before. Likewise, we expect the same to us. Respect what Sabah and Sarawak has been asking for, and our members here have been asking for the same, and I think they, being West Malaysian, has never stopped them from also seeking what we in Sabah and Sarawak have asked for. Tan Sri Speaker, it is the hope and aspiration of Sabahans and Sarawakians that the full implementation of the Intergovernmental Report as annexed in the Malaysian Agreement 1963 should have been fulfilled by now and should have been implemented, whatever the case may be. In this context and in the reality of things, I disagree with the member of Keningau, with the member from Keningau, who had blamed the British for the situation and quagmire we are in today. Rather, we should blame ourselves. We should take and seize this opportunity to make things right. I think no one will say we are the opposition or we are the government. We are all Sabahans. We have to embrace what we should do for our people. People are going to judge us, Tan Sri Speaker. The future is going to judge us too. My friends from the other side, especially from Sabah and Sarawak, as I said earlier, the people and the future are watching us. They will study what we did and critique what and where we failed. You can make a decision. Forming a Borneo pact of 47 of you on the other side can change the direction of the federation. You will be able to outline what you want. You will be able to outline what every single constituent in Sabah have and want and have given trust to you. Why not just form that Borneo pact of 47 on your side, and I will convince my side also to work with you along. Save our friends from West Malaysia who are now facing a polarized environment with bigots threatening racial disharmony and running around asking some of us to leave the federation, which legally belongs to each and every citizen of the federation. They have no right to do so. Save our economy. As the Sarawak CM had mentioned, he and Sarawak has nothing to do with the 1MDB fiasco. Yes, Sabahans, Sarawakians, and even many West Malaysians have nothing to do with the 1MDB fiasco. But we are all victims of the economic consequences of what has happened to our nation today because of the 1MDB fiasco. I recall also, Tansi Speaker, that some of my colleagues on the other side used to praise the GST, even up to just now, and told us how good it was during the debate. But now, I even hear some of our colleagues from the other side who seeks a reduction of the GST because they cannot explain the burden it has become to their constituents and to themselves as well. Sabah itself is overburdened on the GST and other costs that remains till today. As I've said in the beginning of Parliament when I entered, the Proton and many other vehicles, Malaysian-made vehicles, are vast different in prices between Sabah and West Malaysia. Some of them go up to 3,000 to 4,000 in difference. And that is not well, and that is not good. Mr. Prime Minister must remember, the one Malaysia he speaks of is not addressed well. Even though they are streamlining or mengeregamkan dengan izin of prices, it has not solved the problem. The TPPA is also another issue for Sabah. I wish to remind the Prime Minister that Sabah has its own set of labor laws, labor policies, and entry working permit policies. I remember Tan Sri was one of the proponent and fighter of the labor ordinances in Sabah, as a lawyer as well. Our own native laws, our own land laws, and our own separate judiciary. The judiciary in Sabah is separate because it has the High Court of Sabah and Sarawak. Will Sabah be able to determine its own, considering that the member of PKR speaks of autonomy for Sabah? Do we in Sabah have to be dictated by the federal or central government's need to join in the TPPA? Or do we have to wait for our friends from the other side to support it first and later critique it as what they've done with the GST? I know, Tansi Speaker, as my time is limited, especially with the constraint, I do seek, and I'm very happy that Tansi Speaker has proposed parliamentary reforms. One of the reforms that I wish to propose to the Speaker is this.
Penampang.
Oh, yeah. Yes?
Tan Sri, saya nak tanya dengan Penampang berhubung dengan peruntukan yang secara jelas yang termaktub dalam Federal Constitution Part 4 Special Grant to State of Sabah dan Sarawak, yang mana mengikut apa yang termaktub dalam perlembagaan, orang-orang Sabah, teman-teman kita Sabah dan Sarawak sepatutnya enjoy 40% of all revenue collected must be returned to local. Adakah ini satu carangan yang sedang berjalan? Kerana saya dimaklumkan bahawa kutipan yang dibuat terhadap Sabah khususnya amat jauh besar daripada apa yang dikembalikan kepada Sabahan, iaitu sekitar 26.7 million setahun. Adakah ini sesuatu yang tertinggal oleh kerajaan pusat, ataupun adakah ini harus dibawa balik ke meja perundingan supaya orang Sabah dan Sarawak mendapat hak mereka dalam isu ini? Terima kasih, Tan Sri.
Terima kasih, Tan Sri. Terima kasih, saudara daripada Sungai Petani. Jawapan saya kepada soalan itu adalah ini. 26.7 juta itu adalah satu perundingan yang dibuat pada tahun 66. Dengan satu kepercayaan daripada kerajaan Sabah bahawa 26.7 itu akan dikaji balik pada tahun 73 ataupun 74. malang, dia tidak, isu ini tidak dikaji balik, dan hingga ke hari ini kita masih dapat 26.7 juta setiap tahun, walaupun 40% ataupun 2/5 daripada net revenue yang sepatutnya dikembali kepada Sabah adalah mungkin dalam jumlah berjuta ataupun beratus juta ataupun bilion yang sepatutnya dikembalikan kepada Sabah. Perundingan, bagi saya perundingan tidak perlu dibuat, sebab ini adalah hak Sabah, dan Perdana Menteri ataupun ahli pekan sepatutnya membentang berapakah kutipan daripada Sabah sejak tahun 63 hingga ke hari ini. Dan dari itu kita boleh mendapat berapakah net revenue 40% ini. Terima kasih. Saya ingin
pencerahan, boleh tak?
Okey. Yes.
Terima kasih, Tuan Sri Speaker. Penampang, saya nak tanya, kalau 26.3 juta pada tahun 1967, 26.7 juta, pada perkiraan saya mengikut website yang saya ada di sini, nampaknya nombornya sekarang adalah lebih kurang 500 juta. Setuju atau tidak, sepatutnya kita kena bayar 500 juta sekurang-kurangnya setiap tahun.
Terima kasih Kelana Jaya. Ya, saya setuju, sepatutnya dia 500 juta ataupun lebih. Saya sudah ucapkan awal tadi bahawa baru satu oil field di Sabah, Gumusut Kakap, contributes to 25% of the national oil output. You can imagine how staggering that amount is. Tanpa pembentangan daripada Perdana Menteri ataupun Menteri Kewangan, berapa kutipan sejak tahun 69 hingga ke hari ini, tahun 69 hingga ke hari ini, tanpa membentang berapa kutipan itu, kita tidak akan tahu berapa real figure yang sepatutnya diberikan kepada Sabah.
Penampang, boleh saya tanya soalan yang pendek? Adakah Sabah masih negeri yang paling miskin di Malaysia, dan kenapa dia masih termiskin di Malaysia?
Saya faham Sabah masih lagi termiskin di Malaysia, dan ini adalah kesalahan kita sendiri juga, kerana kita tidak membangkit isu kita sebagai rakan kongsi di Persekutuan Malaysia ini. Kerajaan Sabah pun sepatutnya membuat satu usul di Parlimen, di Dewan Undangan Negeri untuk meminta satu penjelasan daripada kerajaan pusat bahawa bagaimana Sabah menjadi negeri yang termiskin di Malaysia. Okey, kembali kepada proposal bagi parliamentary reform, saya ingin mencadang kepada Tan Sri Speaker bahawa satu relaxation of the dress code be done. Terima kasih Tan Sri Speaker. Welcome Dato' Speaker. Okay, again dengan izin Dato' Speaker, I'm going to finish my text in English. One of the parliamentary reform that I hope that your office can consider is to relax on the dress codes in Parliament. We can take the cue like in Singapore, where they wear their neckties and just a shirt, without the need for the compulsory jackets or suits. I think that gives us a different type of atmosphere and environment, especially when we have to be closer to our own constituents who put us in this house in the first place. I also propose a full televised proceedings of Parliament on free-to-air TV, not just from 10:30 to 11:30, but a whole day live proceeding on free-to-air TV. I understand that the internet feed is available, but if you know, and I'm sure that the Speaker knows, along with many of my colleagues here and their friends have said, the data usage when you watch on your smartphone is greatly affected and impacted by the internet live proceedings. So from there, I urge the government to just do it once and for all. Give a free-to-air live parliamentary proceedings, and that, along with that, Twitter and probably social media, so that our constituents who put us here in the first place can interact with us during parliamentary session. With that, I repeat that I agree with my colleagues who have spoken against the budget and respect this budget and reject this budget which has failed the aspirations of the Federation. Thank you. Terima kasih, Ketua Dan.
Yang Ahmad Bintulu.